Hello everyone, Editing Vince here, just to say there's a bit of a content warning on this episode, because the descendants of Tantalus really know how to get violent. So, if you don't like discussions of that kind of thing, episode 55 might be more up your alley. Anyway, with that said, on to today's episode.
Hello everyone, welcome to Autocrat. This is episode number LIV.
Nice.
And the title is The House of Tantalus. See also... Sorry, what?
Want me to... Yeah. Listeners, the reason she's laughing is this is episode 54, The House of Tantalus. See also Child Cannibalism.
Oh boy.
Yeah. The reason I called it that is because that's what Wikipedia said every time I looked up one of these characters. It tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it?
It does.
Are you ready for this?
No.
Good. Let's go anyway. So, first off, there's Tantalus, as you might expect from an episode called The House of Tantalus. He's sort of the progenitor of the dynasty we're talking about today.
Okay.
Tantalus is, by some accounts, a son of Zeus. However, the sources love arguing about it.
Of course they do, they always do.
Tzetzes, I think a medieval source, dismisses this, saying that he was just a king's son, and that kings were always called Zeus by the Greeks, so he would still be a son of Zeus, just not the Zeus. It's clever, but I'm going to ignore it because it's boring.
Okay.
Tantalus was possibly the king of Sicily, or else maybe somewhere like Lydia or Phrygia. The point is, he's a king in western Anatolia.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got more disagreements because, for example, Diodorus has him being king of Paphlagonia, a region which Ilus, of Troy fame, I think, it might be the other one, I'm not sure, chased him out of.
Okay.
The point is, he's a demigod king.
Wow.
Do you have a man in your mind right now? Can you visualize him?
Sure.
Good.
I can.
He has a son called Pelops. So that's
Okay.
nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
it's always nice
fun.
to have a kid.
Tantalus was a favourite of the gods because of his being the son of Zeus, which doesn't feel like it's that special anymore at this point. We've had like one per episode. He was also invited to a feast held by the gods. Sounds pretty fun so far, right?
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Yeah, very nice guy.
Well, during the course of this banquet, he boiled his son Pelops up in a kettle.
Why?
He then served up the limbs of his dead young son to the gods.
Oh boy.
Demeter, or else maybe Thetis, accidentally took a bite of this.
Oh boy.
However, don't worry, he was put back together again, but they had to replace his shoulder with ivory because obviously that was gone now, one of the gods had eaten it.
Okay.
Now, what's the question that comes to mind here?
What the hell?
I was going to say why, but that works too. Well, he may have been wanting to test the gods. I seem to remember it's in an "oh really, you know everything" kind of way. Well, let's see if you know this is my son, but I couldn't find that in the sources, just in an OSP video that I might link in the description. There are other crimes that Tantalus is accused of, none as awful as this, I don't think. A further story has him guilty of spilling the secrets Zeus told him when asking for advice, so, betraying the confidence of the gods. Alternatively, he may have nicked ambrosia and nectar from the gods and distributed it to his mates, or he may have stolen a dog that protected Zeus when the god was still a baby and lied about having done so. However you look at it, he's not in favour with the gods, at least not anymore.
Yeah, I bet.
He ends up in the underworld standing in a lake. That's his ultimate fate.
Is that the Lake of Sulphur?
No, but you will like this. When he's thirsty, the water recedes as he bends down to drink, so he can never drink. If he tries to grab fruit from a nearby fruit tree, the branches recoil away from him, so he's always hungry and thirsty but can't do anything about it. There's also a huge rock above him that perpetually seems ready to crush him. It's almost tantalising, isn't it? Waiting for a fate that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Tantalising.
Oh.
It comes from him.
Okay.
He is the reason we have this word.
That's funny.
And all it took was the attempted murder of his child. Tzetzes further moralizes at the end of his story that evil people get thrown down into the underworld so they don't hurt the living anymore. That's quite the character review. The only reference to Tantalus in Ovid's Metamorphoses is this reference to him in the underworld, in the abode of the accursed, as it's very dramatically called, and he has the same story of the water and the tree. Anyway, we've introduced Tantalus and his son Pelops, right?
Okay, sure.
However, Tantalus also has a daughter called Niobe, who marries a man...
What's gonna happen to her?
It's good, it's fine. She marries a man called Amphion and lives in Thebes. They have 7 sons, among whom was Tantalus the Younger, which is interesting. They may have had up to 20 children, but apparently the sources disagree. You know, for example, Diodorus gives her 7 sons and 7 daughters.
That's still 14 kids.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, the number of children she has is relevant because she boasts that she's better than the goddess Leto, also called Latoni, because she has more children than the goddess does. So, in other words, she's boasting that she's better than a goddess.
Oh boy.
That always goes so well.
We've seen it goes very well.
Yeah. Now, I will admit, it's true, Leto only has 2 children. But these children are Apollo and Artemis.
Okay.
She asks those same children to do something about this insult, and they did. What do you think they did?
Killed someone?
Artemis killed all the daughters while they were at home, and Apollo killed all the sons while they were out on a hunt. Only Amphion was allowed to survive.
That's harsh.
So yeah, want to boast you have more children than Leto? Not anymore. Niobe went back to her father, to Sipylus, which incidentally was also what one of her sons was called, which seems a bit odd. But while there, she cried and prayed to Zeus and was transformed into a weeping stone. So that's Niobe gone.
Good. Or maybe not good, but like, ouch.
There was also a second brother.
Oh.
Now, I haven't given him a name. You know why?
No.
Because he went mad after not being respectful enough to Artemis and threw himself into a fire.
We'll call him Fire Guy.
Yeah, it's not worth the time to remember his name. He's gone within 10 seconds.
We'll call him Fire Guy.
Yeah, sure, Fire Guy. So, that's fun, right?
No.
Anyway, back to Pelops, shall we?
No.
As we said, the gods put him back together again after his father dismembered him, but they had to swap out his shoulder for ivory because one of the goddesses had eaten it. Apparently, though, he became even more beautiful than before once he was stitched back together. He also became a lover of Poseidon.
Oh, okay, that seems random.
Yeah, shows how beautiful he was, I guess. Poseidon gifted him a magical chariot, which I didn't think to look this up. I think it flies.
Why not?
He fell in love with a woman called Hippodamia, whose father challenged suitors to chariot races and killed them if they lost. Really giving Atalanta vibes at this point. He took notes from her. Now, basically, this father had a chariot which he was given by Ares, and the game was that suitors should take his daughter in their chariot and try to run away to the Isthmus of Corinth. If the father caught up with them... yeah. Would you play?
No.
Well, Pelops decides to. This seems unnecessarily traumatic for the daughter, by the way.
It is.
I mean, she has to be in the chariot while the father catches up to them. Anyway, Pelops shows up and Hippodamia falls in love with him. So she persuades the charioteer of her father, a son of Hermes, to help her out. The charioteer made sure the chariot wasn't properly attached to the horses. I think he takes the pin out in the middle. So the father was dragged to death by his horses when it came loose.
That reminds me of a Roman emperor.
Yes. Well, I think we've mentioned him before, Basil I.
Yes.
We will talk about it. It will be ridiculous. But for now, though, he cursed the charioteer, who he obviously knew was responsible, that Pelops would be the one to kill him. This happened when Pelops threw him off a cliff after the charioteer tried to have his way with Hippodamia, let's say. The charioteer then cursed Pelops and his descendants. I wonder if that'll come back at all.
Who knows?
Don't worry about it. It's probably fine. Now, Pelops had 3 sons, Pythias, Atreus, and Thyestes. So that's nice, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
Sure.
Nice family life.
You're scaring me.
It's all fine. Incidentally, for those sci-fi fans, if Atreus sounds familiar, he is what the house Atreides is based on, the main characters of Frank Herbert's Dune.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I just thought that was a fun detail. Anyway, I believe, by the way, in case you're curious, that this Pythias is the Pythias who is the grandfather of Theseus.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the one who gave his daughter to Theseus' father?
Yes, I do.
Anyway, we're not going to talk about him, he's barely relevant. Atreus married a woman called Arope. However, she was then seduced by Thyestes. Starting off well, isn't it? One day, Atreus promised to sacrifice the nicest sheep in his flock to Artemis. However, a beautiful golden lamb then showed up, and Atreus didn't feel like it so much anymore. I mean, this is a nice lamb. It's a waste, really.
Yeah.
He therefore killed it himself and hid it in a box, with Arope secretly giving it to Thyestes. Now, this is relevant, I promise, because cut to both the brothers being summoned by a people called the Mycenaeans. They had received a prophecy that one of Pelops' family should be king, so they need to decide which one of the brothers. Thyestes suggested that whoever had the golden lamb should be king. Atreus went along with this because, well, from his perspective, he has the lamb.
He does, yes.
Thyestes then brings forth the lamb, which he obviously has, and is made king.
All right.
Well, you know, his lover has given him it
True.
behind Atreus' back. So hey, Thyestes is king now, no takes his back sees you lose.
Yeah.
However, not yet, because we have drama. Zeus then sent Hermes to advise Atreus to say that, well, Atreus should only be king if the sun travelled backwards in the sky.
No, that's funny.
Yeah. Thyestes obviously agreed, and then Zeus promptly made the sun set in the east. This bit of obvious divine favour meant that Atreus got the kingdom and expelled Thyestes. So we have a shock reversal at the last second because of Zeus lending a helping hand. It was at this point that he learnt of the affair his wife had been having with his brother Thyestes.
Oh boy.
He was furious, but sent a messenger to Thyestes offering to reconcile with him. When Thyestes showed up, Atreus secretly killed all 3 of Thyestes' sons. He then cut them up, boiled them, and served them at a feast. Thyestes ate the delicious meat on offer at this feast. You know, tastes nice, what is it?
Oh boy.
He was then shown the limbs, which told him what had just happened before being kicked out of the kingdom again.
Oh boy.
Thyestes was furious.
Oh, really?
He asked an oracle how to get even with Atreus, because you would want to at this stage. The oracle
you'd want to kill Atreus.
Yeah. The oracle said no problem. All he needed was a son with his daughter.
That's... I'm not even going to comment on that.
Yeah, well, you're better than Thyestes because he did it. He was just that mad, I guess.
Oh boy.
This son, Aegisthus, later grew up to kill Atreus and take back the kingdom for his father. However, Atreus also had sons who were smuggled away to safety. The names of these sons are Menelaus and Agamemnon.
Oh!
So you can see what kind of cursed family they come from.
Yeah, I guess.
They managed to get their kingdom back with the help of Tyndareus, who we mentioned last time, and drove Thyestes out. So hooray, they're back in charge. They also married Tyndareus' daughters, Menelaus marrying Helen, as we've seen previously. Editing Vince here, just to quickly say that, well, Helen is not the daughter of Tyndareus, as we established in episode 53. She is the stepdaughter of Tyndareus and the daughter of Zeus. But, hey, Tyndareus raises her in his court, so I guess from her perspective, the difference would have been minimal. Anyway, back to the episode and to the nightmares which are currently ongoing. One problem, though. Her sister or half-sister, Clytemnestra, is already married and has a kid.
Alright.
She's married to Tantalus, the son of Thyestes, or Tantalus III, as I'm going to call him.
Okay, sure.
I mean, that's not a problem, though. Agamemnon just kills them.
Okay, as you do.
Yeah. Together, Clytemnestra and Agamemnon have a son, Orestes, and 3 daughters, Chrysothemis, Electra, and Iphigenia. You know, he loves his daughters very much. He loves his family. It's nice. Family life.
Nice. Good.
So that is the House of Tantalus.
Or as I will now call it, what the hell?
Yeah. Can you see why I didn't want to tell you any of these details before we did the episode?
Sure.
So that's the end of the episode. We don't hope you enjoyed. We hope you learned something.
And we hope after this you still manage to have a great week.
We hope you're not in therapy and have a great week.